Welcome to podcast number 213. Do you want to get introduced to another company paving the way for scheduling and your ability to be balanced and to get home? If so, stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. We have a wonderful podcast guest today with us, Franco. Franco, would you mind saying hi to the audience and introducing yourself and your company?
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everyone. My name is Franco Giacquinto. I'm the CEO and founder of Ipsum. Ipsum, we build software for scheduling and planning for construction projects so they can do it more efficiently and more collaborative.
I love that. And the reason, so Spencer Easton set us up to do a podcast interview, and I'm really appreciative of that. So when Spencer and I are looking at applications, so first of all, a couple of times, Franco, I know you haven't been through all the podcasts, but I get a little bit annoyed because there's like a million new Last Planner, applications. And I'm like, hey,
I get it.
Let's time out. So whenever we see one that will integrate Takt planning that has the focus of getting people home on time and preserving their families, we're like, okay, it's time. We need to talk about this. We need to get this out. We have lots and lots of listeners. So diversifying some of the things or the applications that people know about that actually incorporate Takt is important for us. So we're finishing a book at Elevate called Elevating Construction Takt Planning. And that will be done in about 2 weeks. We'll put it out on Kindle and on paperback on Amazon. And the point of that book is to say that Last Planner and Scrum or any of your weekly work planning systems, any of your production control systems are better enabled by a stabilized supply chain. It's better set up using Takt in a flow rather than CPM. And so I know your schedule. First of all, you had said something, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but high level. If we are forced to use CPM or something like that, keeping it high level, it works fairly well so that then these other systems can take over at the right moment. So all of these things are an indicator to us that your company is something worth looking into. Any comments by way of introduction there that you want to build on?
I think you said it all. We are not fans of the traditional scope. It's been going for many years, and it's time for new methodologies, new tools out there to help the people in the construction projects. And we love to combine not only parts of the lean construction methodology, but Takt planning is something that a lot of companies are using today. They see it as a more visual tool. We use it as a tact, like a very tactic tool. Like for us, the P6 or the schedule, whatever, it's a very high level. If you do it very detailed, it's going to be obsolete, in a couple of days. So Takt is very important to combine it with some of the lean methodologies like Last Planner system, so it can have a better impact and a better coordination between the SAS, between the GC. So I love what you guys talk about all the time. And we are, I think, one of the only companies that understand that and wants to, build it in a product. It's not a Last Planner platform. It's a scheduling planning platform with a lot of lean concepts within it. That's pretty much it.
And I like that. And where is your application primarily used right now? So, what is your biggest market right now?
So today is general contractors that are using more of the platform. We started as a company in Latin America, so most of our clients are in Latin America, Chile, Peru, Mexico, Colombia. We just launched a new version of the software, and we are trying to expand here in the US. We have some companies using the platform today, so super excited about that. And now our focus is going to be in the US market, probably the mid market, because the big players, they always have their own ways, and it's very hard to change that. But there's a market, below that it's looking for new solutions, new platforms, new methodologies, and it's a huge part of the market, and we would love to help that part of the market.
I love that. And if I forget, which I don't think I will, but I'd like to go through as a superintendent what my favorite process is and see if let's talk about what the application does and does not do. But let's do something fun really quickly. Usually I have some fun with the opening, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can either ask them directly back to me or I'll give you a minute. So for everybody listening, Franco and I haven't had, actually, when we signed on, this is the first time we've met. And he and Spencer have done some vetting. So we figured, in fact, he asked, should we do some prep? And I'm like, let's see how, this would be fun to just kind of go.
Let's wing it.
Yeah, let's wing it. I love that. So who are you? Give us a little bit of your background, please, and how you started your company. We'll start there.
Okay. I'm not that exciting, but just who am I? I've always been, entrepreneur, doing different types of things. I was studying business back in Chile, and it was a huge waste of time and money. So I dropped out of college, not high school, and started building a startup. And it was a previous project. And I got connected through construction by, some kind of companies that we were working with. And I just fell in love the minute I got into a construction project. The story is longer. One of those companies opened their doors to us so we can investigate and do a lot of customer development. And I spent like 10 months to a year in that project, understanding everything, the goods, the bads, how they manage, data, how they do the scheduling, how they talk to the supers, how the general manager comes and understand what's going on in the project. And I fell in love with it. And since that day, we're building, software for construction. We did progress control, BIM, like all types of things, like to try it out. And we thought that scheduling and planning was the most important part that needs to be, updated into the 21st century. You see a lot of new solutions out there, BIM, reality capture, a lot of stuff. But in scheduling and planning, things are done the same way as the last 20 years. And we want to help change that, transform that a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And so that's a really good intro and a really good intro to you and to your energy. It looks like somebody's trying to get a hold of you on the mirror there. Yeah.
Telephone.
What's that?
Oh, I don't know.
There's somebody coming in the door through the mirror. I thought that was super funny. By the way, I typically don't edit stuff like that out. So
it gives a more realistic vibe. Okay.
Exactly. So like sometimes you can hear kids in the background. I built a soundproof booth, but somehow my kids, when they're playing Star Wars outside, they penetrate.
You can still hear them.
It's crazy. So what are you working on right now that you're excited about? So you have this amazing application. What's your passion right now? Well, not your passion yet. Let's have that be a second question. What are you working on right now?
So, like I mentioned before, we just launched the new version of our software. So that's super exciting because you get to transform everything visually, more functionalities, whatever. One of the most exciting things that we're building right now is the Takt planning module. Mm-hmm. So for us, Takt is super strategic, super important, and we've been working on that for a while. And we are not just trying to make the colored Takt that looks so simple. We're trying to add also the engineering behind it. So it's not only like just painting cells, but it also has some sort of engineering behind it. So we've been working on that for a while, and we're about to launch that module. Super excited about that. It's really challenging because there's so many ways of building it, so many patterns, but super excited. So wait for that module. It's gonna be amazing.
That's awesome. And again, if Spencer says, so Spencer vets so many of them. So I keep going every day on the marketing and the podcast and the training and stuff. And Spencer's vetting these different companies and applications. And you're actually the only one that we've actually asked onto a podcast. And to my knowledge, we're going to have the Deltec folks on to talk about their ways to salvage CPM schedules when we have to deal with that. But I think you're the only one so far. So congratulations on that. It's really interesting what you're doing. So let me ask you, what is the passion that drives you in what you're doing now? You said that you kind of stumbled on it, but that doesn't mean that you're not great at it. So it's knowing that you have a passion for it. What is that passion?
So I'm going to talk for myself. Our team is super passionate about what we're doing, but um, I think what drives me to do this from the beginning, I always wanted to, build software that helps industries move forward. Like when you're a startup founder, you can build apps for people like e-commerce, whatever, right? There's a lot of cool things to build. But one of my passions was I want to focus on an industry and build software to make that industry better, more efficient. The people are happier, more productive, whatever. And construction, obviously, is always down there when you take a look at industries in terms of productivity and stuff. Uh, there's a lot of things improving in construction today. So I think construction in 5, 10 years is going to be so different than today. But that definitely makes me like super passionate about what we're doing. So we're building software, we're improving it. We're seeing how companies go from, using paper on site and spreadsheets to moving to a software and have everything standardized. We've helped companies, build better schedules on their projects, standardize information, build company analytics. So that makes me, excited about what we're doing. And the fact that we have a very agile team that it's, doing new things all the time, changing things, improving things, talking to the customers all the time. That is also super exciting because it means that from now into the next 1, 2, 3 years, we're going to change a lot. Like we're going to improve, we're going to grow. So a lot of new things coming out. And I think this is going to be a very interesting period for construction. A lot of companies are innovating, adding technology, changing things. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. It's not even going to be the same industry in 5 years. We're going to be making so much progress. We know how to do it. We just got to spread it. We just got to make. So my analogy, I don't know if you've ever read the book Switch, but they talk about.
I know the book Switch, but I haven't read it. Yeah.
I haven't read it. It's a great book. So it talks about you need the intellect, the heart, and then the shaping the path, clearing the path to get something done. And so we know how to do it. And you, with your application and with these technologies, we're clearing the path, making it easy. Now we just need to get it in people's hearts, a desire, raise their mental set point and train them. We're going to get there. So I'll give you, I asked you a couple of questions. Is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself? And then what questions do you have for me as you get to know me?
Anything that I can tell about myself? Not myself. I'm not that exciting, but I think our team at Ipsum and the things that we're building, it's something exciting. Like we're starting in a country that is super small and not many people know Chile around the world. Maybe they got to know Chile because of the news or something, but it's a very small country on there. So the fact that we're building software from that country and open it up to the world, different countries, like in 15 different countries, projects from $1 million to $5 billion. That's something that I think our team needs to be proud of. And it's also exciting of what we can do, right? You realize that you can do so many powerful things when you put your heart into it, when you work a lot, bust your ass, and you can build things that, people from other parts of the world are excited to see, to try. We have companies from Kazakhstan, from Japan, from Singapore reaching out to us like, I love what you're doing. Can I get a demo? Can I try it out? So yeah, that's exciting stuff. And if I have to ask you something, I don't know. I guess
you don't have to.
Why am I the first like software founder that it's in this podcast? I know that you like to focus more on the subs and more on like their day to day. How can they be more happy and everything? And technology is not always the only factor. There's so many factors. So I love that you're focusing more on the human side. But why am I the first one doing software in the podcast?
Because there are so many people that just want to make money and don't know what they're doing. And you're the first one that actually wants to, well, to my knowledge, provide an application that is built for the field to actually take care of what needs to be done. See, here's what I see. And it's kind of like, so for instance, I was telling Spencer the other day, Last Planner, I love it. Introduced me to huddles, to collaboration, to pull systems, to weekly work planning. I love it. Absolutely love it. I don't love everybody parroting this like they know it. They don't know it.
I can't agree more. I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they're like, I see people on LinkedIn and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're giving me a bad name. Everyone just stop it. Like, because when I talk about it, and this sounds arrogant, but I'm just going to be myself. Like, I've spent the last 12, I spent the last 12 years actually implementing it. This works, that doesn't work, that works, that works. No, no, no. And like, I know I'm a career superintendent. I'm not a consultant that came in. I'm not a developer, no offense. I'm not these things. I know what I'm doing. I'm one of the best superintendents that I know, building mega projects. And so when somebody's like, "Oh, just do Last Planner, it's magical. Oh, just come out here and do this, and it'll just happen naturally." Or pull planning's great. No, it doesn't happen naturally. Lean isn't easy. It's more of a dictatorship to get it started than anything. Pull planning sucks, but sometimes we need to do it. And CPM will never work. Like there are things that are real and there's things that are not real. And so most of the people speaking up on in the industry in conferences and on social media have no idea what they're doing. And so
I
go ahead.
I agree. I agree because one thing that I can say, like to be as humble as I can, I haven't been around that many years. There's people that know way more than me about this, but we've been around trying a lot of things, doing trial and error, different projects. And yeah, you see a lot of new players coming out there and they're like, oh, we're just going to do digital stickies and that's it. That's Last Planner, right? Like this is the best software there is. And there's so much more to it. And then on the other side, you see the CPM lovers, and they've been doing that for 30 years or more. I don't know. And you're like, if the industry hasn't improved and 90% of the projects are still behind, why do you keep thinking that that's the way to go? Like, don't you think there's something wrong in that process? Don't you think that just the critical path and the P6 file is not enough to make this project successful, to make the super successful, to make the trades, evolve and be part of that planning? Like, there's way more to it. And I'm not saying we have the perfect answer. I'm just saying we're trying. We're a company that we're trying to do that. We're trying to get there. So
well, let's pause on that. The trying and the listening part is the key. Meaning when somebody develops an application, they're actually hurting us if they don't listen. Like for instance, and I'm not going to say the name in case they sue me, but there's a project management application that people will spend like $1.2 billion. No, not sorry, billion. $1.2 million. $1.2 million a year for an enterprise subscription to the software. And when you go do the quality checklist or the safety checklist or any of these things, I want to rip my hair that I don't have out. I want to shoot myself in the calf muscle. Like it is so painful. 12 clicks later, now you've got some piece of useless data that is not going to help me run the job, right? They're not listening to the field. They're not making it easy. They're not, this thing right here, I'm addicted nicely, meaning not in an appropriate way, but I'm addicted to YouTube, Facebook, and texting. The software has to be that easy. It has to be that easy for our craft and for our people out in the field. And so people like you that you said trying, I would say listening is probably the word that I would use. People like you that are listening to actually solve the problem instead of saying, oh, here's Last Planner, it's branded, everybody's using it, let me just package it and sell it, because they just want money. I want my money. Even the CPM people, they know it doesn't work, but they're like, I get paid $120,000 a year to keep doing this. I want my money. I want my money.
To maintain the same thing, not changing anything.
And there's consultants that tell owners, oh, I can do these 500 different reports for you. And I can do float trends and I can do all of this analysis and it's all take. It's all take. They're being selfish. They know they're selling drugs. Like at the end of the day, and I'm being a little bit dramatic about this, but it's no different than if they were in the cartel selling drugs. Like they're hurting other people and profiting by it. With CPM, and I don't think I'm being overly dramatic, at least people that do drugs know what's going on, right? With CPM, there's that crash landing at the last 6 months where everybody's working 7, 12-hour days, hurting their families, getting divorced, ruining their health, all these things, while all of these consultants for CPM are raking in the dough and hurting families. I think it's immoral, and I wish they would stop. And one last thing is, as we're publishing this book on tact planning, we're pretty critical about CPM. And I already know there's going to be condescending people. Well, if you did this, it would make it work. Well, you're just not logic tying it right. Well, everyone just be quiet. It's all out war. It is all out war against CPM right now. It needs to be dethroned. We're coming on the attack, and we're going to get lots of pushback. You are too, Franco, and I'm ready for it.
You know how many people have reached out to us saying we want to get rid of the CPM and everything that we do. Like they want to, but it takes a while for them to make the switch. So I'm confident that if we keep pushing and proposing new things, new ways of doing stuff, then that eventually is going to evolve. But yes, in the meantime, I love what you said that we're listening, we're trying to make it better. We don't have the only like answer, but we want to work with the companies to make it better, to make that process more efficient. So I think that's important, super important.
Well,
totally agree.
If you need any input, you're doing a great job. Otherwise, Spencer wouldn't have recommended us hook up. But if you need any input, let me know.
I would love to.
I want to go through. I love that. I want to go through specifically what I use as a superintendent for what I call integrated control, and at least talk about that. But first, and you don't have to. You had said you wanted to get to know me better. Is there any other questions? Anything before we start talking about your solution? Here we go.
Yeah, if you have like a couple minutes to sum up like your experience as a super, I've seen some of your videos, but anything that you can tell me about it, like what type of projects you did, that'd be also cool.
Great. I can make this quick because I'm used to doing it. So
yeah,
I grew up in a family that was involved in construction. My dad is a ready-mix driver, a concrete truck driver. And when I was 13, I was playing video games and, being kind of worthless with my life. My dad suggested I get a job. I went and asked a tilt-up specialist company for a job, super nervous. But I falsified a work permit in the United States. I should have been 15, but I was 13. And I started working there, and they finished concrete, set forms, and did tilt-ups, and I operated equipment, things like that. So from the time I was 13 and a half to 17 when I tested, 17 when I tested out of high school, I was just addicted. I wouldn't ever spend free time. I was working. I learned at that time that my parents would love me more if I was working a lot. Yeah. So I got addicted to construction, and I became a cement mason. And I remember right after I followed a girlfriend that I had from Germany, I went to Germany for about 4 months, came back. I wasn't smart enough or educated enough to stay in Germany, but beautiful country. But when I came back, I got a job with Hensel Phelps as a cement mason in the unions. After 6 months of them depending on, or not them, but a certain foreman depending on me for almost everything, I got burnt out, and I said, hey, I need to think about if this is what I want to do. They offered me a job as a rodman with field engineers. And so
where was this?
This was in Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I did that. And after 6 months, I was promoted to be a regular field engineer and then lead field engineer. And then I stumbled upon a book called Construction Survey and Control. Layout and Control. Anyway, it's the Field Engineering Methods Manual by Wes Crawford. He's a professor in Purdue. And so I started implementing that, and everything changed for me. So I started teaching for 7 years across the country for Hensel Phelps for field operations. And so I can go quickly from here. Then I spent some time in VDC, and then as an assistant superintendent, project superintendent, senior superintendent, general superintendent, and then the last 2.5 years I was a field operations director and a project director. So most of the time the projects that I've worked on are $80 to $150 million. And then when I was a project director, I would do projects the same size. And then I've been field director on all different size projects. One was 240. another one, most of them are 150 to 240. Whereas
Different types of projects, right?
Yeah.
Commercial, industrial. Okay.
Hospitals, sports complexes, high rises, development, or the whole thing. So I've got quite a bit of experience, and also the experience to run the project from the field and the office side. So what I'm interested in is how do we maintain control on a project and also have integration? Because in lean they're like, oh, no, there's no command and control anymore. And then the superintendents are like, what are you talking about? I need to have control of my job. There's a way to do it, have control with the team. So I call that integrated control. And that's where we need to be, because so many projects, last thing I'll say about myself is that I'm disgusted at the condition that we put our workers in. We treat them like they're slaves. They don't have nice bathrooms. They're not clean. There's no place to eat lunch. There's horrible, unsafe conditions, and we work them too much. And so that is going to change. I've decided that over the next 50 years of me being at work, I will elevate the construction industry. And one of the biggest things that I'm going to do is I'm going to replace most of our nasty bathrooms in construction with nicely built trailers or custom built ones, or if we have to use porta potties, have them cleaned every day with hand wash stations and really respectful environments. So that's my motivation.
I've seen, because in Latin America, it's not the same as here. I've been to projects here in the US, and the infrastructure is pretty good. I mean, at least the ones that I've seen. I've seen projects in Latin America that you would die. Like the bathrooms are like totally unsanitary, and it's like a broken table. So I see really, really bad thing in projects, and I couldn't agree with you more. Like that needs to change. And there's not much innovation, or I haven't seen that much, like in trailers and how do you do that like a little better.
Yeah.
I would love to see more innovation on that sense.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in starting a business making and selling these things in a profitable but affordable way for contractors, you can either coach me or I'll give you the designs just anytime if you're ready.
Okay. I'll take a look at it.
You're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. But so like it'll be like elevating bathrooms. Just kidding.
Just change the logo. The logo.
Okay, one fun thing, and then we'll get right into your application and talk about it. What is your favorite book or movie? And if you don't answer this right, I'm going to give you one more weird question. Meaning, if this isn't interesting. So what's your favorite book or movie?
Favorite book or movie? Okay, I would say I'm not the most reading. I like to read, but I haven't read that many books. But I would say movie. I always say The Godfather because it's cool, but it's between The Godfather or Forrest Gump. Those are my two favorite movies.
Okay. You know what's funny? The
combination, but yeah.
No, I like it. The other day I saw Forrest Gump scenes come up on my YouTube feed, and I was like, oh, that brings me back. And I had some fun watching some of those scenes. So I love it. All right, so I'll skip the other question. So here's what I'd like to do. I really want to have you explain exactly what your application does and why it matters. So for the, we get anywhere from 400 to 500 downloads a day on the podcast. That means, and people might listen once a week or twice a week or whatever, but people that actually download it and listen to it, the podcast, at least 400 to 500 a day. That might be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, listeners. There might even be more, right? Depending on what their listening frequency is. Let's pretend we're not pretending. We're talking to them. Why does your application matter, and what is it?
Okay. Why does it matter? I would say because the scheduling and planning process, it's broken. A lot of people say that, but it's real. It's broken. Companies treat these two worlds as separate worlds, and they don't connect each other. And I think that's not the right way of viewing it. It's definitely connected, and it has to be something that it's It's coming from the PM all the way down to any foreman performing their work. It has to be the same transparency of information. So to give you like a quick example, any construction project that you see today, they're having, their CPM schedule on a P6 or a project or whatever. Then they're having, spreadsheets to manage detailed tasks and information and resources or whatever. Then they're having maybe some pool planning sessions that are a mess, because I've seen very few that are like really good. The rest are a mess. Like you don't understand anything. They have a parking lot. They have the constraint log that you can understand anything. So you have that. And then they try to, update everything. And they have engineers literally wasting hours a day, days a month, updating information back and forth, putting numbers into the, schedule, putting numbers into the spreadsheet. And then they try to send that into a Power BI or whatever. So there's a process that is totally broken. There's so many hours of fat and grease that you need to get rid of. You have people, typing things, engineers that you can use like to think better, to collaborate better, to make better decisions. You have them like typing numbers on a computer screen. And we're trying to make that process, combine into one vertical. So within our software, you can have your high level schedule, then you can build your look ahead from that schedule. So you have all your schedule is like your compass, right? You have, this is how it's gonna perform the project. And then you take it into a more tactical level. So you can do your look ahead within our software. There's a module for that. You can view information in different ways. You can filter it. You can collaborate with your subs. By the way, the takt planning is gonna come in that area, but I'm gonna talk about that later. And then from that look ahead, you can start identifying your constraints, your roadblocks, anything that you need. So when it comes the day to performing, you have everything you need. And from that, build a reliable weekly plan. A reliable weekly work plan that everyone knows what they're going to do, that everyone can commit to it. And then obviously you can export it and give it to different subs. We have the mobile app that is coming soon. It's not ready yet, but it's coming soon. And the mobile app is going to be exactly for what you said. Simple, accessible, transparent information, and so they can update information from the project, what's happening, reasons for variance, observations, any problem, any checklist, whatever, they can do that from the phone. But the most important part, this is just for allowing them to do that integrated. The most important part is the ending. So everything transforms into analytics and reporting. We want to give a tool not only for the people planning and working on site, but also for the PM, the construction manager, the high level of the company, so they can have standardized analytics of all their projects in one place. So they can see this project's doing better. Why? This project's more productive. This project has better PPC. This project, they can identify constraint with more than a week in advance. What's happening? Give data, bring data. And obviously we're focused on scheduling planning, but the rest, we're going to have to be integrated with all the other solutions that can add value to our product, and we can add value to their product. So scheduling and planning, we're trying to connect that in an efficient way, in an easier way, in a visual way, but also in a robust way. So you have data, analytics, reporting, what's happening, what's going on. That's one way of summing it up.
I love that. And one thing you said, I've been strategically phrasing questions to get it out of you again, because before we hit record, you said at the end of the day you can go home on time. Meaning, if you have a system that's not burdensome, you can go home on time. And that's when I'm like, okay, that's why you align, or I align with you. That's what we do at Elevate Construction. It's respecting individuals, training leaders, preserving families. That's why it's super important to me. So I was actually going to do a separate podcast on the differences between the old system, Last Planner, and what I do. I think I'll just, if you're okay with it, I'll just explain that and then see if you have any comments at the end. Okay. Would that be okay?
Happy to.
Because you did such a great job. By the way, a little bit of feedback. Your energy is great. And one of these days you're going to be one of the richest people in your country, I'm sure. But the energy is great.
That doesn't move me. That doesn't move me.
Well, it's a consequence of having good energy and loving people. But the old system was CPM network, and then on Excel, do a 3-week look ahead. And then between the worker, if we said, here's the worker in the field, What's in between the master schedule, CPM, and the 3 week and the worker? The worker hardly gets any information. So in between that is just the superintendent that has to be outside all day, pointing fingers and fighting fires.
Yeah.
That's
It's supposed to be last planner. Like they're supposed to be involved in the process. Yeah.
yeah. So
But not
now
always.
that's the old system. Now let's go to last planner. So last planner says from your master, and I'm saying this for the listeners. I know that you know that the listeners actually do too. I'm just making a comparison. So there's the old system. Now last planner is the master schedule, typically done with CPM, getting milestones. Do phase planning with pull planning to those milestones, and then do a make ready look ahead to align materials, information, manpower to it. Then your weekly work plan, and then the foreman with their workers go implement it, and then we track variances. Excuse me, with percent plan complete.
Mhm.
When I think of my hand here represents the worker, there's still a gap between when we do the daily huddle and the worker because we're counting on the foreman to transfer that information. It's
Okay.
so much better than what we used to do. And again, I love Last Planner and I'm so grateful for what it's given me. Here's what I like to do. So that was the old system, then Last Planner, right? What I like to do, and I call it the integrated control system. That's just what I call it. But it's where we start with a Takt plan that governs the entire project and puts everything into a rhythm and a flow. And from there, we get better, we have a better overall duration. We have better milestones. And my preference is we never use CPM. The Takt plan governs the overall project and gives us our milestones. And then let me explain the whole thing, and then I'll get back to it. Then, when we're doing our make ready planning and our weekly work planning, we can just simply use that same Takt plan in the meetings. What I do last week, this week, next week, or if we're on a daily Takt planning, what did we do yesterday, today, and tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
And then get that information all the way to the worker. And then for non-typical areas, like let's say there's an owner design change, or there's a complex core in the building or something like that, we can pull that out and manage that in Last Planner. But here's what I like to do: Takt plan, phase planning, your make ready 6 week look aheads, weekly work planning where we have the meeting and we collaborate. But these are the couple things that I add: moving the huddles to the afternoon every day, to where the foreman meet in the afternoon and plan the next day. That way they have time over the night to like think about it, to prepare. Hey, I need those materials for tomorrow. And then in the morning, a worker huddle where everybody on site gathers, and for 10 to 15 minutes, the plan for the day is relayed to them. Going from there to the end, the workers have a higher percentage of understanding of what's going on because we didn't count on the foreman, we didn't count on the super. We used 2 to 3 systems to get the information to them. And we started with a flow system with Takt planning that stabilizes our supply chains. So again, Takt, phase planning, the look aheads, weekly work planning, the afternoon foreman huddles, worker huddles, gets the information to the workers. And that has given me the most stable environments and projects that always finish on time. I'm assuming with your Takt modules that with some adapting, we can do some of these same things. Would that be correct or incorrect?
Probably correct. Yes.
Okay.
So you have the first planners and the last planners.
Yeah.
You kind of have those both works. Okay, I like it.
And I love the first planner system, to your point. If we do a remarkable job in pre-construction and that Takt plan is representative of what we can do with the trade partners and it's collaborative, I found that it's amazing. And to your point, it's high level enough to where we're not planning that detail out 3 to 6, 8 months in advance, which is
Exactly.
so,
Which is ridiculous.
absolutely. So anyway, I did want to say that if you told me tomorrow, well, I'll help sell your application anyway. But if you said, hey, Jason, in this application, you can do high level planning, whether it's your method or Takt planning, but high level, identify the milestones, and that we can create flow and stability and a rhythm in our scheduling system, and then get that information all the way to the workers. I'll go ahead and buy stock if you're selling it. Like,
Well, we're raising capital right now, so no, just kidding. But I would love to show you in detail and once the takt planning module comes, we can recreate that workflow that you just mentioned. Dude, we thrive on this. Like we talk about this all day, every day. We've been talking about it for years. So if we can take that strategy into the product and make a project successful, I will be happy. I don't care about the money. I will be happy with that.
Okay.
That's enough.
Well, I appreciate it, and so I'm excited for what you're doing, and for people like you who are. And I want to say that again. It's not that you know a lot, right? And you said you don't have a lot of experience, but you're very sharp. You're very smart. I appreciate the fact that you listen to the people, listen to us who have been there. It means a lot, and I want to give you that direct feedback because it's very frustrating to have things shoved down people's throats. If a company goes and picks up an application and says, this is what we're doing everywhere, and then the super's like, oh, I have to do that now. Like, that's really frustrating. So having somebody that listens is huge. I want to ask you two things. Do you have any stories of where your application has been super successful? And then I'll leave you with this. What would be your challenge for people listening? And then we'll close out. We'll tell people how they can get in touch with you, and we'll close out this podcast. So again, any stories, and then what would be your challenge for people?
Challenge for people. Okay. Any stories? Yes, we do. We have some, use case and success cases from clients in Latin America. There's a few that I can talk about. One of our biggest clients, they have like 40 to 50 projects in the platform. They standardize the way that they schedule their projects. They standardize the takt, everything. And it's been a game changer for them. I can name like, oh, we've improved like 150% ROI, because that's always, commercial bullshit in my opinion. But it did make the projects coordinate way better. They have better results. We're working with a couple companies in Peru right now that, actually finished the project before the baseline. So that was pretty good. They were really active, really lean, working on the platform every day. So that's also a really good success case. And yeah, we have a couple that I can talk about, but you can see that in the website. I would just, repeat myself. But I want to build one here in the US. That would be way better. And when it comes to, what was the other one? What challenge did I want to lead?
What would you challenge people? Either to align with your company vision, or to use your application, or something that you're passionate about, whatever. What would be your challenge? If you wanted anybody to leave this podcast with, hey, I should do this, what would it be?
Oof. If it's people from construction, just challenge yourself what you're doing on the project every day. Don't think that because it's being done for years, or because, the company works that way, that's the only way of working. Like, open yourself not only to software, but just to collaborating working in a different way, changing the process, adding more people into the process, or just being open to change things. That's all I ask. Like, when you see a company that's open to change and they work with you and they throw ideas, you get a way different result. When you see companies that are like, oh, but can I put this software and do exactly what I'm doing today, but with a software? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it goes terribly wrong, because they just want to put anything that you give them into what they do. So that's like saying, I don't know, I don't have a good analogy now, but it's doing the same things with a different knife. Like, you want to change things a little bit, or you want to challenge the process. You want to challenge, why am we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing the pool planning this way? Why are we doing CPM schedule? Like, have you asked your subs if they understand anything about the CPM schedule that you're talking with the owners? Like, you're building a project, $500 million project, talking to the owners, you're selling something, but then the people that are actually building that don't understand the details of that. That doesn't make much sense to me. It's like what you said. It's like, here, go do this. That doesn't work very well usually. So if you involve everyone in the process, I think that's going to have better outcomes. So just challenge what you're doing. Be open to new things, even if it's software, a good consultant, some company that's trying to make things better, someone that's selling you better bathrooms, whatever. Just construction companies need to open up a little bit, man. That's all I'm saying. I've been trying to tell that for years. Like, you need to open up your doors and not act like your process is like, patent filed for the NASA. Like, they're like, dude, we do this, but don't show anyone what we're doing. I'm like, that's the same spreadsheet that I've seen in 150 projects. Dude. There's no rocket science into this. Why are they so, I'm not going to show you this, or we need an NDA so I can send you my schedule. Like, dude, really? I don't care about your schedule. Like, I've seen 1,000 schedules, right? So it's an industry that's very close, don't you think? Like, there's still like that. Oh, I have my own schedule, but the owner has this, and we don't tell them everything. So those walls between the construction process makes everything go wrong.
I agree.
That's my opinion. There's a lot of double click, right? And there's different projects, there's different people, whatever. But those walls are making the process inefficient and everyone miserable in the process, working more hours than they have to. PMs that are struggling all day. I can tell you how many times I've talked to a PM, like telling them, oh, can we meet? I want to know about your project. I can't. I have a meeting with the owner right now. They're like busting my ass because of something. And it's like 6 p.m. I'm like, dude, why is that happening? Why is the project, complicated in the second month of progress? The second month, dude, you have like 20 months left. Why is it complicated in the second month? I don't get it. There's something broken in that workflow that needs to be solved. So hopefully construction process changed a lot in the next years.
Well, I can't beat you on that one. That was so beautiful. I almost started crying. If you had a microphone, you just have to drop it right now. Well, so close this out by telling people how they can get in touch with you. Website, contact, whatever you want them to know.
Yeah. Website, they can go to the website, ipsumapp.co. It's the old platform that's out there. We're updating the website. Sorry about that. And if not, my email, franco@ipsumapp.co. So ipsumapp.co, not com.co. They can reach out whenever. I'm open for conversations, always.
Yeah. And it's fun talking to you. I love the passion, and I love the hatred for waste and stupidity and siloed, non-transparent thinking. It's time for people to get past that 100%.
Yeah.
Construction.
Get aggressive, like want to break that. Yeah, exactly.
So we have a tradition at the end of the podcast. We say on we go. So I'm going to count down to 3. We say it together. 1, 2, 3. On we go.
On we go.
I love it. Okay. Thank you.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.